Hi, Ankita. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for joining us today. If you could tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. I work for Alexion, which is a wholly owned business of AstraZeneca Pharmaceuticals. We were acquired by AstraZeneca 3 years ago. Maybe it's 4 years ago. Can't remember now, but a while ago. And Alexion is very much focused on the rare disease community. Many of our medicines target actually what we would call an ultra rare disease population. Maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000, but less than, call it 50,000 people living with these conditions in the United States. We have historically been very focused on bringing new molecules to market, but also with two big changes in our market environment, one being more competition in the rare disease space, but two, also changing demands from the patient community, the caregiver community, and the rare disease community. We are starting to now really focus in on the need for beyond the pill solutions, or beyond the vial, or beyond the IV, if you will. And so my team, Digital Health and Experience Innovation, was really born out of the idea that sometime in the future, we don't know when, and we're not sure where, how, it will no longer be acceptable to payers, patients, physicians, and the broader community to just come to market with a medicine and no wraparound services or solutions. And we're starting to see little inklings of that now, but certainly it's not a full demand yet. And we try to think a little bit more holistically about what is the need for patients overall in terms of access to care, access to diagnostics, access to supportive care, and how can we help patients get from where they are today to feeling their best and optimizing their physical function and their mental health. And so that's what my team is about. My team we are constantly growing and shape-shifting over time. So we have four components to our team. The first is our innovation accelerator, where we take internal ideas from our business challenges that are outside the scope of business as usual for a pharma company. We walk through an innovation process by pulling together teams from all over the organization to spend 20% of their time trying to at least vet whether it's a good idea or not, and whether we should justify continued investment. We also have a digital capability lab, which is really tech focused as opposed to business problem focused, where we identify new technologies we think will have an outsized impact across the pharmaceutical value chain, so cross-functionally. And we try to find use cases. If we can find 10 or more really successful use cases that are cross-functional, we'll then graduate that technology into a sort of full service tech capability in our organization. And we've done that now with two capabilities, generative AI as well as virtual reality. The third component is our think tank. And that really is thinking about how do we take all of the work we're doing and creating knowledge capital about it. So soft P publishing on social media, internally, and then hard P publishing. We are working really, really hard to get publications and abstracts at major conferences about the work we're doing. I will tell you it is difficult because they still want clinical studies for everything, but I think there's a lot of value in sharing outcomes based on qualitative research, because that's how you get insights to propel the field forward. So we're trying to encourage conferences and try to encourage major publications to accept qualitative work as well. And then finally, we have a partnership ecosystem piece. Admittedly, this is kind of the last part of our roadmap. The team is only about 2 years. It'll be 2 years old in September. So we're growing quickly, but we're trying to take our time as well. And the partnership ecosystem is really how do we create that ecosystem of partners that can deliver these beyond the pill solutions, recognizing that honestly, the thing that pharma does best is make drugs, make medicines. We're not software companies. We are not care delivery companies, nor can we be. And so we need to integrate and partner with companies and organizations that do those things well to have that healthcare solution that we want to create. And I will pause there.
It's fantastic. I don't know how you do it. That's really impressive. And congratulations on such a tremendous journey. And talk about those areas a little bit more, if you could, and maybe double click on one of them that you're finding are the most influential and the most impactful, or just one that you're really focusing a lot on right now.
Yeah. I think I'm most excited right now about the work we're doing in the supportive care space. So one of the things that I think is really in many ways hard for pharmaceutical companies to admit, and especially when you have truly transformational medicines, is that medicines don't always get patients to 100%, right? They can go from 0 to 80, they can go from 0 to 70, maybe even 0 to 90, but there's always a little bit of a gap. in terms of being, where the medicine gets you to optimal functioning. And that gap can require physical therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapy, mental health support, financial support, a whole lot of things that we don't really think about as being part of medical care, but really it is part of somebody's overall health and wellness. And so we're starting to see and hear a lot more recognition now about the importance of being able to have mental health support. And we have actually just wrapped up a clinical study testing a mental health protocol that's delivered through teletherapy that we designed specifically to target some of the challenges that are one of our diseases, NMOSD, those patients face. And so the protocol has actually been built in a disease-specific way, recognizing that when you have a life-threatening disease, it's very hard to disentangle mental health things from the disease and the disease progression and the fears around disease. And so we wanted to make sure that we developed a protocol that was specific to that disease. The results will actually get presented at ECTRIMS, which is a neurology conference in September. So I can't really share what they are today, but they were great. I'll go with that. And we're really excited now to figure out how do we bring this therapy to patients, and also how do we take these learnings that we have identified about sort of that really strong intertwining between disease and mental health, and kind of democratize that or spread that to the other diseases that we have.
That's great. And again, congratulations on that publication as well. That sounds like a very promising piece of data. Looking forward to seeing it when it comes out. Yeah. And is there any pieces of advice that you'd like to part with before we sign off here with our audience? Is there anything that you'd like to share with them that you've learned along the way that you think would help them in their digital transformation journey?
Yeah, everything takes way longer than you think it's going to take. That is my one piece of advice, and it is very difficult in the context of a pharma setting to have patients beyond 1 year. I don't know why, but we have this very arbitrary thing that everything has to happen in the next 12 months, and it doesn't. And so I think as we move forward with collaborations, with the digital health startup community, with organizations, we from the pharma side have got to have more patience because things just take longer. And 99% of the time it's because of our processes. It's not because of anything else. So I think that would be my biggest thing is everybody in the community should just understand that in theory, if something could be done in 6 months, in reality, it's going to take 2 years. And have that expectation, because that will solve a lot of emotional stress about collaborations in the future.
That is wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much. It's so good to see you and so good to talk to you, and looking forward to having you back on the program again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy to connect with anyone who wants to learn more offline.
Terrific.